issues about this thing called life. This is Rita Dairit, and today is the second episode of our topic on gender ideology. Joining us once more, Guidance Counselor Rolly De Los Reyes. Hi, Rolly.
Hello, magandang buhay po.
Gandang buhay sa iyo, Rolly. So, Rolly, nung first episode natin, natapos tayo doon sa mga counseling mo, no? So, sabi mo nga, ang iyong pamamaraan is really, as exhorted by Pope Francis, is really accompaniment. So in your years of experience sa counseling on people that has questions about their gender, about their sexuality, ano sa tingin mo, what is the truth about homosexuality? Saan ito nag-uugat?
Yeah, oo. Actually, lahat ng mga pinag-usapan natin about SOGI, sexual orientation, gender identity, of homosexual acts as being evil, that is true also, that homosexual have choices. Tama rin yan, that's the truth, and that there's no one who's born homosexual talaga until now, the gay gene hasn't been discovered, That's all on the tip of the iceberg, eh. That's what, yeah.
Clarify ko, yung sinabi mong walang pinanganak na homosexual?
Yes,
Kasi diba yung naririnig kong sinasabi nilang, I was born this way?
Well, ano yan eh, parang the question of I was born this way is parang how do you know? Kumaga parang biniscuss rin namin kasi sa aming apostolate, we're discussing what we call the psychosocial crisis, that every stage of life, may 8 stages of life kasi na pinagdadaanan ng isang tao, at yan yung mas malalim na pinagagalingan. Ito yung mas bulk noong iceberg na tinatawag, nariyan yung relationship mo sa nanay mo, nariyan yung relationship mo sa tatay mo, nariyan yung bullying na common na nararanasan ng mga people who are same-sex attracted, yung pagiging mataray nila is just a defense mechanism for them, nung sila ay nabubuli, and then we also have the negative labeling na nangyayari sa kanila. We also have discovered yung generational patterns of behavior that contributed to homosexuality,
Can you tell us more? Like, binanggit mo yung relationship sa nanay, sa magulang. So, ito, nag-i-impact ito sa pagiging homosexual? It is a factor sa pagiging homosexual ng tao? Okay, tell us more.
Yeah, we have to remember that kaya nga ang pina-fight pa rin namin, we're fighting against the same-sex marriage, Why? Because a child has a right to have a father and a mother, because ako ang sinasabi kong root cause ng homosexuality is gender insecurity, it's in being insecure on your own biological sex, parang you're insecure of becoming a man if you're born as a man, or insecure becoming a woman if you're a woman, and it involves the relationship between the child and the mother, the child and the father, and the relationship between the father and the mother. Why? Because the first man for a child's eyes, the first man is the father. So kung ano yung tingin niya sa lalaki, ay nagmumula sa tatay niya. So imagine a gay man who is growing up and having a father who's drunkard, who's a womanizer, who na iniwan sila nung bata sila, or laging wala sa kanilang feeling, Imagine what a child, a son, isang lalaki na lumalaki na may ganong klaseng tatay. Ano kaya magiging tingin niya sa lalaki? Ang tanong doon is, anong tingin niya? Gugustuhin ba niya maging lalaki? Di ba?
Okay. So parang sinasabi mo ba na dahil ganun yung nakita niyang image ng lalaki, nire-reject niya ang pagiging lalaki?
In a way, we call that defensive detachment,
Defensive detachment, oo.
Yeah, in a sense na parang I'm hurt already so much by my father, whether tatlong bagay, it's either neglect, abandonment, or abuse. If any of these things are experienced by a child, on the same-sex parent, whether it's a man or a woman, so magde-develop siya into that defensive wall behind them, no? The same is true with lesbianism, eh. No, nakita ko rin merong ganung effect because the first image of a woman is the mother. So kung paano niya titingnan ng kanyang sarili bilang babae, no? For example, kung binubugbog yung kanyang nanay o kaya yung nanay niya masyadong dominante or anything na parang I don't want to be like that when I grow up. Yung ganung crucial question eh ng isang bata. And remember, this is not happening during teenage years. It happens between 0 to 12 years old. Yan yung event
yung kabataan talaga.
we call that's the gender identity formation. Because after that, yung 13 to 14, we call that already the sexual attraction formation. So by that time, kilala niya ang sarili niya, and ang clue lang nito is you are attracted to the opposite. No? So kung tingin mo sa sarili mo babae ka, you will be attracted to guys.
Yun yung natural way, no?
Yes. No, and actually ang nangyayari, nadi-distort nga siya because kung hindi ka buo talaga bilang lalaki, so may cracks and brokenness of becoming a man, no? You're seeking, no, the complementarity of that from other men, no? Parang binubuo mo yung sarili mo by interacting with other men. And that's actually what we call homo-emotional needs, no? Meron kang mga pangangailangan bilang lalaki sa kapwa lalaki that is not necessarily sexual in nature.
Na hindi na-address ng tatay mo, ganun ba yun? So therefore,
maybe a father,
sa ibang lalaki.
Yeah, it may be a father that you never had. It may be a brother that you never had. It may be a best friend na lalaki. Kasi if you would notice, Ate Rita, di ba? In peer development, di ba? Sa umpisa, mga boys and girls, hiwalay yan, eh. Di ba? Maglalaro sila ng hiwalay. Hindi mo pwedeng pagsamahin ng lalaki at babae at the first stages of life, no? So, pero aabot sa punto, pag mga tipong after grade school, no, high school, ayan na, makikita nila yung attractions sa bawat isa. But initially, no, parang ang barkada mo talaga, same sex, no?
Yes. Unfortunately, bata, sila, oo.
Yes, unfortunately, for people who are broken, no, birds of the same feather flock together. So, nangyayari, lahat ng mga broken people, sabihin natin, lahat ng mga homosexually inclined, sama-sama. Kaya nangyayari, na hindi nare-reinforce yung pagiging homosexual broken nila. No? So, what is important, kaya nga, when I do this in schools, no, and I do this to communities and parishes, no, I have this saying na ang tunay na lalaki hindi takot makipagkaibigan sa bakla, no? Some people kasi have this idea na parang baka pag nakipagkaibigan ako maging bakla rin ako. I will tell them, bakla ka na talaga, no? You just have I call them a latent homosexuality, no? Natutulog na dragon, no? Na hindi mo lang nare-recognize.
Hindi totoo na nakakahawa ang homosexuality kasi yun ang narinig ko eh. Huwag kang sumama sa mga yan, baka matulad ka.
Yeah, that's not true. No? I would say this, no? People na nahahawa, quote and quote, were already genderly insecure in the first place. Remember the term genderly insecure, no? So it's not necessarily bakla na talaga sila, no? Pero kaya nga makikita natin sila Bruce Jenner, di ba? Ba't ang tanda na bago lumadlad and so forth.
Ano explanation doon? Parang may pamilya siya for a very long time, tapos biglang iba pala ang nararamdaman niya? O naramdaman ba niya to late in life?
Ano yan eh, parang I feel, no? Siyempre gusto ko makausap siya in person, no? Pero what I feel, no, with these people is that it's possible na genderly insecure na sila sa sarili nila. Maybe the sports is a way for them to, alam mo, parang, kaya ko yan, di ba? Parang, magiging lalaki pa ako and everything, di ba? But at the end of it all, kung talagang meron ka ng insecurity inside that is unresolved, that's important. You need to resolve that. If that is unresolved, then it will come out in many ways. And one of the ways is, yun nangyari na kay Bruce Jenner, na tinalikdan na talaga yung pagiging lalaki at gusto na maging babae na talaga. Because for the longest time, yung feeling na parang, I was fighting for this. But the thing is, you did not recognize that you have homo-emotional needs. Kaya nga sinasabi ko, hindi solusyon ang pagpapakasal. para maging straight ka. Kasi sa the old adage of, di ba, yung mga matatanda sinasabi, magpakasal ka lang. Pag nagpakasal ka, magiging lalaki ka rin. Hindi ho totoo yun. No?
Hindi, oo.
Kung genderly insecure yung bata o yung tao, kailangan ma-resolve niya muna yon. No, kaya nga 'di ba po doon sa counseling na kinento ko last time, no, I asked the question, bakit ka na-attract? Ano yung characteristics na na-attract ka sa isang lalaki? Because these are key questions na pag sinagot nila, malalaman nila what are the homo-emotional needs. Are these qualities of masculinity that I feel deficit in? Or are these homo images, no? Kumaga, images of a same-sex person na hindi ko naranasan sa aking buhay, no? Or parang kulang pa, no?
Parang kulang pa.
Yeah, having a father, a brother, or a best friend that I never had. So, yun.
You also mentioned bullying as one of the factors. Paano nagiging factor yun na maging homosexual?
I always, this is my personal experience as well, and the experience of other people, na parang negative labeling has an effect on the gender insecurity of a person. Like, I was born already with hair lip, no? So, ngongo na po ako, no? Paglaki. And coupled with that, no, dahil my father left for abroad. Not his own, ayaw niya yun, no? Pero kailangan niya umalis. So, therefore, ang naiwan sa akin are all female images. So, when I was growing up, naging effeminate ako, no? And then, in my effeminacy, no, ako ay nasimula na mag-aral, no? Pinunaan nila kaagad yun. Nakita naman, alam mo naman how boys are, di ba? So, when they see na parang, you are different from me, no? Parang, ay, bakla, no? Ay, lampayatot. So, it's lampa na, payatot pa, because I was really thin at that time. So, those negative labelings of being ngongo, lampayatot, and bakla, pumasok pala yan sa sistema ko. And I embraced
Ilang taon ka nun, Rolly? Ilang taon ka nun?
I think I was around 5 or 6 years old.
Yung talagang kabataan pa.
Yeah. And I remember my father told me na parang, yun nga, first interaction mo with the same sex eh. Kasi lahat ng pinsan ko at that time, kaibigan ko na mga pinsan, babae. So first time ko magkaroon ng interaction with lalaki, no? Tapos ganun pa, no? I remember my father told me the next day, no? Nasira ko daw yung pintuan namin. Kasi ayaw ko nang pumasok sa eskwelahan. That was how hurt I was in terms of interacting with boys.
Dahil nililabel ka,
nililabel ako. And kasi, di ba sabi ko nga po, probably that is one thing that I lack, no? Having male friends. Because ang tingin ko sa lalaki, sa kapwa ko, peers, no? Na 5 years old, 6 years old rin, kalaban sila, kaaway sila, ayoko sa kanila. Sino ang aking friend? Yung aking teacher na babae, yung mga classmate kong babae. So, na-reinforce tuloy yung aking pagtingin sa sarili at yung gender insecurity ko bilang lalaki at na-reinforce na hindi, maybe I'm really feminine, no? In nature, no? So, ganun na nangyayari, no? So, kaya nga, yung bullying, kaya siya naging effect because of the negative labels that they have.
Negative labels. Ano pa yung sinabi mo kanina? Marami yung parents, relationship with parents, bullying, negative labeling.
Yes. And I also mentioned yung generational behavior.
Yes. No? Generational behavior. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Yung bang mga ninuno mo? Yung mga nakita mo sa pamilya mo?
Yeah. I tell this to people. Siguro it's a good way for you to also think about it. No? Ano kaya implications? In my healing journey kasi, I made a family tree. No? Alam niyo po yung parang level namin magpipinsan, tapos mga tsuhin-tsahin ko, mga parents ko, tapos mga lolo't lola, na yung mga gano'n. No? So it's really a family tree of all the people.
Hanggang saan ka nakarating? Anong generation?
Parang lola ko sa yung great-grandparents ko. No?
So anong nakita mo?
What I discovered, actually sa great-grandparents ko, wala masyado nakalimutan na ng mga parents ko kung ano nangyari, no? Pero with my grandparents, dun sa linya ng grandparents, not my lolo at lola, pero sa linya ng mga kapatid nila, merong mangkukulam. There's a witchcraft. May witchcraft na nakita doon, no? So yun ang nangyari doon sa linya nila. Sa linya ng mga parents ko, no, both mother side and father side, lumabas ang adultery. No, lumabas yung lahat ng mga lalaki. I'm happy to say my father was not of them. Pero halos lahat ng mga lalaki, no, kapatid o asawa ay ng babae, no? So, kumbaga, and just imagine, as I've told you kanina, yung impact no, yung father, mother sa child. So what happened to us? In that level na puro adulterous relationship, sa linya namin magpipinsan, lumabas ang homosexuality. So both on the father side and the mother side, kaya sinasabi ng iba, parang namamana ba yan? Hindi eh. It's actually about the familial component, no? Ano yung nangyayaring dynamic sa loob, no? So, yun yung isang na-discover ko po.
Bakit kaya, if I may, bakit kaya ang nasa linya is adultery not homosexuality, pero ang
Yes.
nagbunga homosexuality?
Because sins beget sins, no? So kumbaga kung ang kasalanan no nagbubunga ng panibagong kasalanan.
Panibagong kasalanan.
Yes. And I think no if we will be really reflective about it, no. Think about the sins of your family, no? Tawag natin doon generational sins, no? And that's why no when we recognize that, in my case I recognize that, no, parang I'm actually praying right now in terms of exorcism, no? Meron isang prayer doon of cutting generational sins, no? So parang tapos na, parang tigilan na natin 'to. From my end, parang please stop that already. Na wala nang ipapasa pa na bagong kasalanan sa mga next generations namin. So I think that's very important for us to realize, no? The effects, no, yung sin. Actually, that's Old Testament eh. Na, di ba, from the sins of your forefathers, namamana natin yan. And I think that's the effect. No? And na-realize ko na parang, wow, no? That is the effect that happened to me. No? And probably happening also to other families.
Malamang, oo. And what is on my mind right now is really the sins of the country, of the nation, and even of the world, no? So siguro, napapasa din yan sa next generation of Filipinos, for example. Yeah. So, pending in Congress right now is the SOGI bill. Hearing from you now na hindi naman ito pwede naman to i-address, na may mga root causes naman. So, ano kaya ang magagawa ng mga Katoliko o ng mga Kristiyano, no? Dito sa SOGI bill, kailangan ba yakapin natin doon, tanggapin natin ito?
Okay, I have one thing that I have to say with SOGI bill. We have to recognize that there's discrimination that is happening, no? For people who may be experiencing SOGI, no? Sexual orientation, gender identity, and expressions issues, no? Meron pa rin nabubugbog, meron mga tulad ko nabubuli, di ba? But I see that the bill is not the answer because the answer to discrimination is education. No? Katulad itong ating dialogo, maparealize natin sa mga tao, this is the root causes of homosexuality, no? Right. Na sinasabi ko nga, no, pag meron kang tinawag na bakla, ikaw ang gumawa ng bakla, no? You're the one who is doing that, no? It's not you're being told of that eh. Hindi naman parang nagising ka na, oy, bakla ako. Hindi ganoon eh. Somebody told you that, no? And I want to address that. Now, the SOGI does not address that. It just punishes those people without them making an understanding about why am I being punished. I don't know. Kumaga parang maraming tao dyan siguro na parang old school pa o maraming tao dyan na parang do not know less, di ba, about these things that we're talking about. So education talaga ang importante, no? So I think for example, no, may isang implication dito na yung in terms of bawal na kasi puro bawal eh. Bawal. So in terms of SOGI bill kasi parang bawal mo hindi tanggapin ang isang tao just because of his sexual orientation or gender identity. Pero paano naman pagdating sa mga Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, no? So kahit na ang isang tao ay openly gay, like for example, can you hire Vice Ganda to become a Boy Scout master, no, of certain things? So they will aalma na sila kagad dyan na parang hindi pwede, discrimination yan, ganun. Yeah, they have a point there. Pero parang sa akin parang ano ba ang thrust ng Boy Scouts, di ba? ano ba yung kanilang panuntunan, di ba? So I think that is something that has to be respected. I think ang kulang doon is a mutual respect, no? Na parang this is how you see things, that this is how I see things, no? Na parang I hope that you will also allow me to see things differently. In terms of school, di ba? Isang implication nito, no? Yung mga meron kasi dito na provision na parang hindi pwede na tanggalin nga ang isang bata just because of that. That is true. Tama naman yun. No? I remember in our times, no, parang may mga kasama ako na conditional ang conduct nila, no? Just because they're gay, no? Pero yun ang question mark. Hindi dapat ginagawa yan. Pero pwede naman umabot rin sa kabilang punto na parang merong pinapatupad na uniform ang isang eskwelahan. Tapos a person, isang bata for example, na lalaki, gusto niya magdamit babae. So female uniform ba ang papayagan natin sa kanila? So that is something na medyo kumaga gray area that we need to talk about, di ba? Papayagan nga ba yon? Actually, they're saying, no, yes, papayagan mo. Hindi pwedeng hindi, di ba? Pero where is the values there? Diba? Saan natin papasukin yung values doon? In terms of sige.
Kaya nga, so itong SOGI bill, sa tingin mo ba we need to oppose this dahil parang lalong lalala ang issues sa LGBT community? Kasi ang naririnig kong pinaglalaban nila is yung karapatan nila for, expression, authenticity. Yan ang mga battle cry nila, di ba? Expression, freedom, pride, authenticity. Ito ako, acceptance. Pero kapag halimbawa pinayagan mo, sabi mo nga may peer influence eh.
Actually, we could have a case in point here. No, remember that issue of a transgender in Cubao who wanted to enter a female restroom, di ba? So that is a case in point, no? Naging news yan, di ba? Parang, and then everybody saying, oh nga, no, tama yan, yung transgender dapat binibigyan natin ng rights and so forth. What happened to that unfortunate soul, that lady guard, no, na parang piniya, I don't know if it was a lady guard or a lady janitress, no? Tinanggal ng trabaho, no? Iyon ba ang gusto natin na mangyari, na parang ginagawa lang niya ang kanyang tungkulin kasi nakita naman niya na parang yung mga babae na nasa loob daw. Kumaga, narinig ba natin yung point ng janitress kung bakit na pinigilan ito? It's not because ayaw niya eh. It's because baka lalong magkagulo pag pinapasok niya at yung mga babae na nasa loob, ayaw yun. Diba?
Right.
Nag-object na nga. Diba? So parang nasaan ang balanse dito? Na parang ang nangyayari ba? Sila na yung mas nakakaangat sa lahat ng ibang mga tao? I think if you're talking about equality, you have to talk about equal. No? Yung pantay. Na I understand you, but you have to understand also the sentiments and sensitivity. You're talking about gender sensitivity. But are you sensitive also to other genders who may not feel the same way as you? Or parang tatanggapin na lang ba, kumbaga blanket acceptance of everything, no? Kahit na meron silang misgivings about it, no? Kaya nga ang nangyayari dito, if you will push for the SOGI bill, yes, okay, sige. You will not experience discrimination, but will you be loved? Mamahalin ka ba? O kumbaga matatakot na yung taong lumapit sa iyo kasi baka mamaya kasuhan mo sila. Diba? So, let's try to think about ano ang element ng batas na ito. Is the element really to educate people about non-discrimination? Or is the element to instigate fear? No? And let them be the one, kumaga parang parang ako na dapat yung intindihin mo, no? Kasi hoda sa mga nararamdaman mo, dapat ako lang. So I think that's a little bit selfish.
Oo. And saan kaya papunta tong SOGI bill na to? Ano pa kayang karapatan ang hihingi nila kung halimbawa maipasa ito?
Well, if you would note sa ibang mga, yun nga, we talk about ideological colonization yung first episode, di ba? If you would notice sa Western countries, the SOGI bill o yung non-discriminatory bill, yan ang fondasyon, the foundation of all the other LGBTQIA bills, no? Like same-sex marriage will already come into play, no? Kasi nga, ito nga, may move na i-abolish ang Family Code of the Philippines or baguhin siya. Because very clearly, nakastate doon sa Family Code of the Philippines that marriage is that between a man and a woman, no? So, babaguhin nila yon or i-abolish nila yon para magkaroon na talaga ng same-sex marriage, no? So yun yung nakakatakot na next step nito, no? As I've said, this is not the answer to discrimination, but we have to recognize that there is. But how we address it, I think this is where you and I and the whole of the people who will listen to this, please, no, recognize that there's discrimination, no? But we fight against the SOGI bill because we feel that this is not the answer. The answer is education. The answer is understanding, accompanying these people, no, who may have different views from us, but we need to respect them. I think that the role here is if they will feel that there's no more discrimination, there's no point for the batas. There's no point of pushing this, di ba? Kasi we could vehemently tell them, bakit? May discrimination pa ba? Di ba? So, until they could still see, no, na meron pa nga, na meron pa rin natatakot, na meron pa rin nanunuya, meron pa rin nabububog ng mga bakla at tomboy, they will push for this. And they will have reasons of pushing for this. But if we will refrain from doing that, but we will start to understand, accompany, be compassionate to them, I think they will find no reason for pushing this bill anymore. And we could also find the conviction of telling them there's no need for this because we are already compassionate, we are already non-discriminatory of you. But until that happens, no, andun pa rin yung push nila. So, a challenge for us, my dears.
Rolly, to conclude this topic on gender ideology, what advice can you give to parents? Kasi sabi mo nga kanina, nag-uugat. No? Isang ugat sa homosexuality is the relationship of a child with his parents. So what advice can you give to parents?
I think what advice I can give to parents is, first you have to be secured with your own gender bilang lalaki at babae. Kasi mararamdaman ng bata yan, no? If the father and the mother is also insecure of his own gender or her own gender, no, mararamdaman yan. And being secure of your own gender means that you would be respectful of the opposite gender. Kaya di ba nga ho, tatlo yung relationship eh. Relationship ng child sa tatay, relationship ng child sa nanay. Why? Because they're the first man and the woman in the eyes of a child. Pero yung relationship ng lalaki at babae, importante rin yun. Kasi doon makikita paano ba makipag-relate ang same sex sa opposite sex, no? And how does the opposite sex relate to me? So kaya nga, no, marami rin mga bakla katulad ko na ayaw na magpakasal kasi we are fearing that we may have dominant wives, no? Like our dominant mothers, di ba? So parang yun yung parang nagiging hindrance tuloy. So siguro one is to be comfortable and be secured in your own gender. Number two is be able to relate with the opposite gender in a very loving, relating way, no? Kasi yun ang importante sa mga tanong ng bata, what is a man, what is a woman, who am I in them, and how do they relate? So yun ang importante, I think, no? And yun.
Sa mga tao naman na nakakaranas ng identity crisis, ano ang ma-advise mo sa kanila? At meron pa silang mapupuntahan? Sino ang pwede nilang kausapin? Hindi sila komportable sa nararamdaman nila ngayon. What can they do?
Okay, so for people who may have this same-sex attraction, we call it sa courage terms, no, parang simple lang yan, lalaki at babae, tapos there may be same-sex attracted people, no? And for those people who have same-sex attractions, no, we have to let you know that there is a group called Courage Philippines, no, the Courage Apostolate, no? You could find us in the website www.courage, COURAGE, RC for Roman Catholic, rc.org, no? At makikita niyo rin, please also message our president, no? si Brother Edwin. Ang number niya is 0916-313-7249. Ulitin ko lang, 0916-313-7249. No? At yung ibang credentials, hanapin na lang kami sa Facebook, Courage Philippines. No? Ang una sa lahat po, maintindihan niyo po na hindi kayo nag-iisa. No, narito po kami for those people, most especially who may be feeling same-sex attractions, but who want to be faithful to the church's teachings on homosexuality. And what is that? Homosexuality is called to chastity. Alam mo, isa lang po na gusto kong may share na parang ang maganda lang po sa amin, alam na namin yung cross namin. Our cross is having same-sex attractions. And just a little anecdote from Mother Teresa of Calcutta, meron po siyang pinadala na tomboy. No? Isa sa mga madre niya na may same-sex attractions, pinadala niya sa psychiatrist. No? And then after a long while, no, the psychiatrist told Mother, she will be like this for the rest of her life. And Mother Teresa was so taken aback by that, parang wow, forever? And then she reflected, and then she said, if this is a means for her to get to heaven, so be it. And I feel that to the core, even now. Na parang homosexuals are called to sanctity. We are called to be saints. And the reason kung bakit madali na yun sa atin, kasi alam na natin yung babatain natin na cross. And the cross is having same-sex attractions. And how do we go through life having same-sex attractions, while at the same time living a chaste life, a pure life for God? A life dedicated to the only one who could feel the emptiness in our hearts, and that is God.
And to that, I say amen. Thank you so much, Rolly. Very enlightening ang sinabi mo sa ating mga viewers today. Male and female, He created them. And all of us, including those experiencing same-sex attractions, are called to sanctity. This is your host, Rita Dairit, reminding you today, haba-habaan po ang pasensya sapagkat ang buhay parang tayo.